Hello again, algebra students. We have now graphed from slope-intercept form, and yesterday we worked on writing equations in slope-intercept form. We're pretty comfortable with that. You did that even last year, working with slope-intercept form. Today we're going to use a new way of writing an equation. It's called point-slope form. And personally, I love point-slope form. It is so nice and easy to get an equation from, because there's so many options that we have versus with slope-intercept form where you have to have the y-intercept. For point-slope form, I can use any point on the line and be able to get an equation. So we're going to be giving you today a slope and a point, just not necessarily the y-intercept. And then we'll be able to get the equation. So you can see my lovely highlighting work here. This is what point-slope form looks like. And I know that it looks a little bit more messy than slope-intercept form. There's just more stuff here. But in my equation, and I have it all highlighted down below, but here it is also. In the equation, you have a regular y and a regular x, and you have an m, just like we did with slope-intercept form. The difference here is instead of having just a plus b at the end, the x sub 1 and the y sub 1, these two things right in here that are being subtracted in my equation, and notice that there are also parentheses, that's just any ordered pair. So I'm going to take whatever ordered pair I'm given, and those are going to go into those places where I circled. The y goes in the y sub 1, the x goes in the x sub 1, and then we know all the other stuff is just going to be there. The m is going to be either given to us or we'll count it from a graph, and then we can just put those numbers into the equation. So we've got this graph over here also. Here is why point-slope form works. When I'm looking at the rise for the slope, how much it's going up and down, notice that they took this point right here and this point, and they said, well, y minus the y. Boom. They just happen to have a y sub 1 on one of them to keep things organized. And then for this part, they said, well, to figure out the run, to figure out how far we go sideways, let's take the x minus this x, which happens to be an x sub 1. But that y minus y sub 1 you can see in the equation. The x minus x sub 1 you can see in the equation. And those two things we use to find the slope, which you can also find in the equation. So we are going to take problems like what we've got here, and we're going to write the equation in point-slope form. And for today, that's all I'm worried about is just point-slope form. Okay, so once again, point-slope form looks like this. Y minus y sub 1 equals m, and then in parentheses, x minus x sub 1. When I'm writing this, typically what I'm going to say is instead of the y sub 1 and the x sub 1, I'm going to say y minus my y number equals m times x minus my x number. The y number and the x number are from the ordered pair. So in number 1, this is my x number. This is my y number. I'm going to sneak ones on there just so you know where they're going. But the regular y stays a regular y. I want to subtract the y sub 1, which happens to be that number 1 right there. There's my equal sign. The m, they told me, was -3. And then I would have the regular x, stays a regular x, minus, now my x sub 1 is -2. The only thing I need to do to finish this up is I would clean this up by going, keep, change. That's it. You have an equation. It's not as easy to graph, but I'm not asking you to graph right now. It's easier to graph from slope-intercept form because then you know where you begin every single time. This is just getting an equation with any point instead of the y-intercept. So for number 2, again, I'm going to have y minus my y number, which happens to be in this problem a 5, equals the m, which is 2, then in parentheses, x minus my x number, which is 3. And that one's done. Again, all we're doing is putting 3 numbers in the right place. Put your ordered pair, the x sub 1 and the y sub 1 in the right place, put the m in the right place, and you're done. So for number 3, again, here is your point-slope form. Y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. Y minus my y number, here's my x number, here's my y number, -2 equals, the m is -1, and then x minus the x number. This problem, they were trying to throw as many negatives as they possibly could into this problem. So I would clean this up. I would say, let's do a keep, change, change, keep, change, change. I am personally just fine with you leaving it just like this. Realize you can do that. I don't really need a -1 in front of the parentheses. I could just put a negative, and then it's going to be an x plus 1. I don't care which of those two equations you give me. Both of them are just fine. For number 4, here's my x sub 1 and my y sub 1. So y minus, my y number is 0, m is 4/3, and then x minus my x sub 1. Now in this case, when I say we should clean this up, the only thing that really has to happen here is y minus 0 doesn't have to be written like that. That could just be y. I don't need it to say minus 0. So this is going to be y equals 4/3 x minus 5. Okay, a couple more problems here. Again, here's your x, here's your y. We're going to make those our 1s so that you know where they go. Y minus my y number equals m times x minus my x number. So y minus 4 equals 7 times x minus 0. Kind of like the last problem, I would say I don't really need x minus 0. Again, if you left the equation like this, it's fine. It's perfect. However, that stuff in parentheses is just x, which means I don't even really need the parentheses. I would have y minus 4 equals 7x, and that would be fine as well. So for number 6, I'm going to have y minus, now I'm not going to label my x and y this time. You know where they are. The y number is 2. The m is my -1/2, and then in parentheses, x minus my x number. And in this case, there is nothing to clean up. That one's just done exactly the way it is. Today's worksheet that you have, it's just one-sided. It's giving you a point and a slope. And it just says to write the equations in point-slope form. The answer key, just like it always is in Schoology. And then when you're done with that, after you've checked your work, make sure that you take the formative in Schoology. If you have any questions, let me know.